Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have all of you with me here today. Now today I want to go over another interesting story, and in keeping with the British theme, we're going to talk about Stonehenge. That's right. Everybody's favorite monument, or maybe everybody's favorite monument. Now, Stonehenge is a place that I've actually been to, and let me give you a little bit of background on my experience. I went there. First major surprise, it's actually right next to a highway. It's surprisingly close to a highway. So and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And for whatever reason, they decide to put the road as close as they could possibly get to it to where it's noticeable to the henge itself. It's still quite a good distance away, but like the fact that you could see anything around it, particularly a motorway, kind of takes away from the allure of this mysterious old, like ancient ruin. But it still is impressive. The other part of it is it's not as tall as I thought it was. They definitely make it look taller in the pictures. I'd say it's about as tall as a two-story American house, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, with some of the stones stacked on top of it. Makes for a really interesting configuration, but it's cool nonetheless. Lush green countryside. It's the British, the British Isles. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Definitely worth visiting and seeing one of these heritage sites. Well, turns out there's a recent awesome discovery about Stonehenge that I just felt like I should cover with you guys today. And that is, scientists have conducted tests to reveal Stonehenge is made from nearly indestructible ancient material. And I want to read one of the articles that talks about this and the discovery that's being made. Now, a little bit of backstory of what happened here is that basically there was a diamond cutter, I believe, in the article. They mentioned his name. One of the diamond cutters, yeah, Robert Phillips, who in the late 50s helped repair the henge and was allowed by the people who ran, whatever society governs these monuments at that time, allowed him to keep a sample, which was then tested by, I believe here, led by Professor David Nash. The researchers were able to analyze two pieces of slab with the help of with all these different group, British Geological Survey, London's Natural History Museum, Salisbury Museum, English Heritage. And they said, like, getting access to the core drills from Stone 58 is very much the holy grail of our research, because a lot of research goes into understanding who put this thing in place, because it is honestly in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of like interesting that somebody would put it out there, and I guess they carried the pieces away from hundreds of miles away. It's extremely rare as a scientist they get a chance to work on samples of such national and international importance, and that is true. And the question I had when I read this article is that if this has been proven to be made of nearly indestructible materials, then the question becomes is, what indestructible tools did they use to construct this thing? Okay? Because that's the first question I had in my mind. It's like, indestructible metal. Like, well, then what did they use to build this thing with? But anyway, so the analysis of the samples revealed that Saracen, an interwoven crystal quartz core, which makes the ancient slabs nearly indestructible according to the researchers. So they had to use something more indestructible than the indestructible stones to build the indestructible stones. Very interesting thing, brings up a lot of questions, in addition to the site in general, because here it says the structural analysis extends on Nash's recent findings that pinpointed the other stone's origins to the Westwood section of Marlborough Downs. The area has long been held to be the source of material used to construct the site, which was put together in two phases by unknown local workmen around 4,500 to 5,000 years, which is kind of a crazy time period when you think about it, because 500 years, if I put it in the modern day, let's say you go to the 1500s and you say 500 years plus or minus, that would put you in either modern day, okay, or down to the Dark Ages. So I guess maybe I'm not being fair with the math, within a 500-year period, so 250 years. So somewhere before and after the birth of America, you could say. Is the time scale here. And here it says only rabbits and other small animals pose a threat to Stonehenge. According to Nash, a court order has also recently halted a potentially damaging highway project near the site. ArtNet has more on the okay. Yeah, and like I said, the highway is relatively close to the henge right here. But yeah, and what's crazy to me about this story, and the reason I wanted to cover it is, one, it's kind of interesting to always learn about a national or an internationally renowned monument or place of such significance. But the other one is that the question it poses, like, who put these stones there? What purpose did they have? What did they serve? Why carry all these stones all the way to this site in particular? What like because I've been to the UK. Like you drive through most of the countryside. There's a couple of hills and a couple of forests, and you're like, well, it's I mean, beautiful. It really is beautiful from the countryside, but it's like there's nothing too particularly crazy special about this particular place where they put it. And why would they carry these stones all the way there? And part two is like if they're made of like these nearly indestructible materials, which, like I said, for a stone structure to have survived for 5,000 years, it would have had to have been made out of some pretty remarkable materials. Because a lot of ancient structures from that time have not survived or fared very well. I mean, younger structures have already had, like we see this in Greece with like the Parthenon and whatnot. Like structures that are less old than this have fared not as well. Okay, and yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's like who put it there, why, what tools did they use, honestly, and why did they put it in that location instead of like where the quarry's at? And if the quarry's what tools did they use at the quarry to cut these stones? Like, did they just like sand it down? Just like somebody and who would have the time to do all of this? I mean, if you were to assume like 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, people lived in more hunter-gatherer types of societies. If agriculture hasn't fully developed here, maybe it has, but even then, it's like who has the time to take away from tending to their fields and to trying to get food to go out there and just start sanding a bunch of rocks for what purpose? It's just like really mysterious to me. So anyway, so I hope you're as interested in the weirded out and kind of intrigued by this as I am. If you've made it this far to the video, really appreciate all of you who like and subscribe my channel and watch this stuff to the end. Your people are really awesome. You inspire me to keep talking about random and weird things every day. And yeah, it's not always doom and gloom on this channel about climate change. And like I said, on whatever, like maybe I'll stop talking about climate change because maybe I should stop being a doomer. Who knows? Whatever. We'll figure it out as we keep going. Anyway, appreciate it. Thank you for your attention. Really like it and appreciate it if you guys liked and subscribed, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'll talk to all of you later.